So the early stages of putting kind of a plan together were really challenging because we were doing it all remote, not in person. Um, but the biggest challenge right out of the bat was kind of getting each department head to think on an organizational level, on that macro level, versus just within their silos. Each leader was kind of was always thinking about their kind of department, so they were all stuck there. And so we had to break down the silos. So this gets to the leadership part of one of those three barriers to growth. And the leadership team started to have weekly meetings that began in May. And then we set a set agenda that helped them discuss issues that were cross-functional. And then that bridged the gap between strategic and tactical, right? Because they were all used to being in the weeds and we had to learn how to get above the weeds. And then by August, the executive team began holding daily huddles with each department head reporting out on metrics from the prior day along with their goal for that current day. Then they also instituted monthly meetings, and the team focused on strategic discussions, such as defining their organization's core values, their purpose, like their brand promise, to what they were trying, the impact they were trying to make to the community. So a lot of it, when you guys were putting in the chat, we might have execution issues. Meeting rhythms really have to be applied in order to kind of get those execution behaviors to take root, right? So from a leadership perspective, the other thing we did was that each member of the executive team now has scorecards, the one you saw earlier, and they have quarterly goals and they have job competencies that align to each position. So the accountabilities are articulated and communicated to one another, and everyone reports up every month what are the 2 to 3 outcomes on their scorecards they're responsible for, so that everyone else can hear what that is. In addition, I mentioned finance was a big piece of this when they started, because they had cash flow issues and a line of credit. So they realized that they had to start looking at their finances from a strategic finance perspective, different than an accounting perspective, right? And that helped them to see where efficiencies could be gained in their processes, in their people, how they're using their people, in what departments. And they have that goal now of having that 2 to 3 months operating expenses available to them so that they can be their own line of credit, right? And help smooth out any cash flow issues that they historically had. So the strategies that they've implemented have resulted in the organization becoming stronger. They're more focused on their purpose and they're fiscally sound. And they have a leadership team. This all gets back to kind of that barrier to growth around leadership that has the right execution disciplines and accountabilities. And they have a process by which they have a robust reporting system for understanding their cash position. And by the end of the year, they had a line of credit down to 0. All their payables are current, and they're well positioned to kind of grow organically to help further serve their community, right, from a healthy position. So just getting back to execution, and in this case, cash, that helped to drive results within their organization.